Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. I'm Erin, and for today's Vlogmas video, we are going to be reading a Reddit no sleep story that is Christmas themed, of course. And I will of course have the original story linked down below if you want to check it out on Reddit, but let's jump into it. Today's story is called It's Almost Christmas, so I feel like I should share the memory that has haunted me for 7 years. As Christmas is just around the corner, I remembered something that happened on the day of Christmas 7 years ago. Well, it started a couple days before Christmas, but on the day of the most popular holiday, I discovered that a single household can hold both the worst and best type of people. Before I confuse any of you guys even further, let me explain why I had to quit my job on the happiest day of the year. For those of you that have either worked in any of the Walmarts or Targets, you know the giant green bins where customers can donate toys for underprivileged children are a complete scam. For those of you that don't know, on the day before Christmas, my manager would get our warehouse workers to bring both the bins back and we would restock those toys. Most managers in other stores would do the same thing. It would help them hit a quota, and because of that, they would get bigger checks. Messed up, I know, but I couldn't really do anything about it. I had a family to take care of, and though this job is far from glamorous, it still managed to pay for everything we needed. I don't remember everything that happened, but I feel like it would be easier if I divided this by days. December 20th, 2010. I was walking around the store trying to act busy when I saw a little boy walking around the store alone. He was wearing a white shirt and a pair of jeans, but both articles of clothing were filled with holes and stains. He didn't have any shoes or socks on. Concerned, I started to walk up to him to see if he was lost, but before I could get to him, he turned the other way and started running toward the exit. As he was leaving the store, he grabbed a couple of toys out of the donation bins and ran out the exit. It took me a couple seconds to figure out what the hell happened, and I ran to the doors. He was long gone. December 21st, 2010. I saw the same kid around 2 in the afternoon. He was walking around the store wearing the same clothes. Without hesitation, I waved my hands toward him and I asked, "Do you need anything? You know, it's not nice to steal. If you just tell me what you want, I'll be more than happy to get you something." He turned towards me, and it took everything out of me not to let out a gasp. On the front of his shirt, there was a 5-inch long hole, and blood was slowly pouring out of the hole. I tried running up towards him to help him, but he shook his head slowly before running out of the store just like the day before. Blood was dripping on the floor around him. He grabbed a couple more toys out of the bin before running out of the store. I was close behind him, but by the time I ran through the door, I couldn't see him anywhere, which was enough to raise some flags. The parking lot was huge and surrounded our store. There was no way he could have been that fast. I tried looking at the front of the store thinking he was hiding, but after 30 minutes of trying to find him, I gave up. When I walked back in the store, I tried to find the little drops of blood on the floor, but they were gone. I asked a couple of the other workers, and they all told me they didn't see any blood. December 22nd, 2010. I didn't want to do it, but I didn't have any other choice. I was concerned about the kid, and after a night of thinking about what I should do, I decided to tell Loss Prevention, LP, about it. I told them right as I came in at 10 in the morning, and by 4 in the afternoon, I was asked to come and review the tapes with them. When I walked into the office, I saw that one of the LPs and the general manager was in the room watching the tapes. The manager motioned me over to the seat next to him, and he asked, "Around what time did you see the kid?" I told him it was around 2. As soon as I told him, he let out a sigh and asked, "All right, Jared, answer me truthfully. Have you been doing any type of drugs? Just be honest. You've been working here for a while. I won't fire you, and you will still be in line for the assistant manager position." Thrown off, I let out a scoff and asked what he was talking about. Without saying another word, the manager took the tape back to 2:04 p.m., and I watched in horror as I started running around the store like a madman. The kid was not on the tape. He turned around and faced me before asking, "So you sure you didn't do any drugs? You're a good worker. I would hate to have to fire you for lying." Not trying to make it any worse, I told him I was just exhausted from the holiday schedule and I would even take a drug test if it was necessary. He stared at me for a couple seconds before telling me to take a couple days off and rest. December 24th, 2010. The past 2 days were spent with my family. It's amazing how fast your kid grows. He's 3 now, and honestly, the last time I was able to spend time with him was about 6 months ago. It's sad when I see my son being so much more attached to my wife, but soon I'll get the promotion and I'll be able to use my vacation days without having to worry about getting in trouble. We played with a couple of his toys, and I repeatedly promised to get him a couple of new toys he had his eyes on. Before I went to work that day, he told me he loved me and he told me he wants to stay home more. It took everything out of me not to cry. My wife gave me a kiss and told me to come home as early as possible since I was working on Christmas. I told her I would try, but even she knew I'd be working late. My shift began at 11, so I came in 15 minutes early. As soon as I clocked in, a coworker of mine walked up to me and asked if I knew what was going on. When he saw the confusion on my face, he coughed and said, "Mike, the manager, has been asking all of us if we have been stealing out of the donation bins. Apparently a bunch of crap has gone missing, and they're pretty sure an employee has done it since they can't find anyone stealing on the cameras." Mike asked me if I knew about anyone stealing from our store about 3 to 4 hours later. I told him I didn't hear anything. Shaking his head, he turned around and started to walk away. That is when I saw him again. He was wearing the same beat-up clothing, but the huge hole in his shirt was gone. In his shaking right hand was a knife. I tried calling out to Mike, but I couldn't. I watched helplessly as the boy ran up in front of Mike. He didn't even notice the boy standing just 3 feet in front of him. The only thing that caught his attention was when the child said, "Quit stealing toys from kids." Mike stopped dead in his tracks and looked around. The boy then ran up and planted the knife in his chest and ran out of the store. Mike fell to the floor clutching his chest. After a couple of seconds, his hand fell to his side and he was completely still. There wasn't a cut on his body. The paramedics arrived shortly after. We learned later that day that Mike died of a heart attack. Everyone at our store was shocked. Mike always made sure he led the healthiest lifestyle possible. Good news, I was able to get home early that day. Bad news, at 3 in the morning I received a phone call from one of the assistant managers. He asked me if it would be possible for me to get to work at 7. I told her I would, and I fell back asleep. My wife was pissed I wouldn't be able to be there while my excited son opened his presents. A couple of cops were at the store when I got there. One of them walked up to me and asked if I had a moment to talk to him. I don't remember what the exact words are, but let me try my best. "Officer, has Mike been acting strangely for the past few days?" Me. "Not really. I mean, he was pretty mad about someone stealing from the donation bins, but beside that, no." Officer, have you ever met his children or his wife? Me. No, to be honest, I didn't even know he had a family. Officer, can you just take a look at this photo and tell me if you happen to see the son? One of your coworkers told us that you've been acting strangely the last couple days and claimed to see a young boy in the store. He took the photo out of his jacket and showed me. I tried my hardest to maintain my composure when I looked at the picture. It was the boy that I saw in the store. He was even wearing the same clothes. Officer, that was the last photo taken of his son. His son was found in Mike's bedroom with a knife wound on his stomach. It looks like the son died of blood loss. The wife was found in the living room with a knife in her head. The only person alive was his 2-year-old daughter. She was in the basement surrounded by what seemed like completely new toys. What's odd is that the neighbors told us that they didn't see Mike come home. Several people at the bar he frequents told us that he was pretty much there every night for a couple days, but the baby wasn't malnourished in any way. There was even a bottle of juice sitting next to her when we found her. I didn't want to seem crazy. I didn't want to get tied into something I knew nothing about. Instead of telling the truth, I told them I never saw the boy in the picture. The officer looked at me with a puzzled look on his face before giving me a nod and thanking me for my time. I took the day off after that and quit the next day. I never did figure out why Mike killed his son and wife, and honestly, I just don't want to know. The only thing I know is that the little girl was lucky to have an older brother care for her even after he died. Like I said, it's been 7 years since that happened. I now work 40 hours a week as a manager at the local electronics store. I'm not rich by any means, but that memory has left a huge impact on my life. Every year, I will put aside some money to buy extra gifts for Christmas, and I will donate those to local charities. And then the poster goes on to talk about a different subreddit, which is actually a really great subreddit if you want to check it out. It says, this year I found an amazing subreddit called Santa's Little Helpers. They have lots of families that are struggling to give any sort of Christmas for their children, and honestly, it doesn't really take a lot to make a struggling family's year a little special. So that is it for this story. Definitely a creepy one. I know it was a little dark, but I thought it was creepy and it had a Christmas theme, so decided to give it a go. The subreddit that he had mentioned of Santa's Little Helpers is definitely an awesome subreddit to check out around the holiday season if you do want to give to somebody. So definitely check it out. Of course, read over all the rules and stuff. Essentially, people have to go through a form, you know, giving their circumstances, and then they post Amazon wish lists for their children. You can pick toys off of those wish lists and they are sent to that person to give to their child for Christmas. So I definitely think it's an awesome subreddit. I looked into it. So it's definitely awesome. If you want to check it out, I will have it linked down below. But that is it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see the rest of my Vlogmas videos. I will be posting every day until Christmas. And I will catch you next time, guys. Bye!